Hi, my name is Sarah Holcomb, and I'm here to tell you about the lesson plan that I've chosen to do for my lesson plan project. I'm going to have my students create an element superhero or a villain based on an element on the periodic table. In this assignment, students will use all of the knowledge gained thus far in the semester. I typically give this during the periodic table unit, which is unit 4, so they're going to have to use everything that they've learned up until this point. They'll incorporate their understanding of the atom as it applies to the periodic table. This assignment is great because it's collaborative, creative, and innovative. I've used this assignment before, but I have not incorporated technology to the degree that I have in this revised Element Superhero project. So I think that the addition of technology will only enhance the students' experience, and it'll also help create opportunities for them to become more digitally literate because we want them to be able to function and use different programs within the internet to help create a Web 2.0 classroom. The use of technology is incorporated throughout the assignment. So here has a brief description of what the project is. And then here starts their direction. So here I have some helpful sites for the students to get started. Then I have their directions, and I have some other sites for them to use. But I'm actually going to show you how they will incorporate all of this technology into their assignment. So I have the links listed here, but I'm going to show you a different tool. So in this assignment, students are going to work in groups of 2 or 3. They're going to collaborate using Google Docs, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the one thing that they're going to do is as they conduct their research, they're going to have to use Symbaloo as a way for them to organize all of their references and their resources. And the great thing about Symbaloo, if you haven't used it before, is that here you can create what's called tiles. You can create tiles which will harness all of your information and kind of keep all of it's like a bookmark for your references. But the great thing as a teacher is that here's the share tab. The students can share their Symbaloo page with me, and there I can check their references. So I think this is really great, and it helps the students become more accountable for the websites that they choose. So in their assignment, the students are asked to do some research. So here are 2 pages that I have offered for them as a starting point for their research. However, they're encouraged to find other resources. So you can click on this tile, and it takes you to a periodic table website where they can click on different elements and see what their different characteristics are. I typically have them do this in the beginning so that they can kind of get a feel of what properties that the element might have, something that might be interesting to them. Okay, so I have this site that they use, and then once they've decided what element they're going to use, I offer them this site called Hero Machine. And so here in Hero Machine, the students can create an avatar that will depict their superhero or villain. So here they can choose some frameworks, and then they can add colors and shape and size. And so this is really cool for them to create. I also give the opportunity for students that like to draw. They may draw their superhero, but some kids are apprehensive about drawing because they're not very autistic. So this is a good way for them to be able to create an avatar that represents all of their characters' characteristics. Now that the students have created their superhero, I then want them to create a story or a comic strip. They have the option of one or the other, to where they explain and elaborate on their character's superpowers. So their superpowers are based on their elemental characteristics. And so at this point, they're going to create a story or a comic strip to explain this to me. And so if they're going to create a comic strip, I tell them about this site, Toondoo, but there are other comic strip sites out there, but I just like this one because the students are able to upload the character that they created in Hero Machine, or they can scan in a character and use it. So it's just a really nice tool to use, but they can sign up for free, and then they can create a comic strip incorporating their character. And then once they've completed their assignment, they're going to need to share their Google Doc with me. And so everything that they'll do, they will collaborate in Google Docs and then they will share that link with me. And then lastly, they're going to need to create a reference page because I want my students to be accountable for the sources that they use. So it's really easy for them because they have this Symbaloo page here that has every reference that they've used. But then they can easily create the reference sheet using BibMe. And so here they can select the style, either APA or MLA, and then they create a reference page. And so it's just really good for me because there's a consistency in their references. And then once they're complete with all this, then they get to present their project to me. And they get really excited to be able to share their characters and their results. And I've had, before I incorporated the technology, I had really good results, but sometimes I would get stick figure characters. So I hope with the incorporation of using Hero Machine and other technology, I will get better products from them. Now, with using technology, there is area for some troubleshooting. So there's always the issue that we may or may not have Wi-Fi. That happens. And if this were the case, then the students would have to hardwire the laptops into the internet connection. So that's one way to solve for that. Also, sometimes not all the computers that we have are working. So I do have the ability to either sign up for a computer lab, or some of my students' responsible groups can go to the media center and work in there on the desktops. And then the last issue that might arise in this is that the student might not have access to computers at home. I do give them a lot of time in school to work on this, but there are times where they're going to need to work on this at home. Fortunately, at my school, we have computer labs that are open until 6 o'clock at night a couple days a week, and they do offer bus routes home. So that's one option for them. But I tend to work with students a lot if they have extenuating circumstances that don't allow them to have access to internet at home. But I'm very excited to incorporate this project into my curriculum next year because I've used it before, but I think now with the improvements to it, I just think it'll be a much better project, and it really gets the students engaged.